Nominee number 1 goes to the Star Wars Academy. Why is using the Force to pull a Star Destroyer out of the sky okay, but Leia using the Force to pull herself towards a cruiser an issue for people? Hashtag Star Wars. So obviously there's Starkiller who, and he actually guides the ship down, especially if you read the book of it. He's not actually pulling it down. He's guiding it down because it's already crashing. Compared to Leia in space. Do you want to take, what's your thoughts on this? Why is it okay for Starkiller to do that and not okay for Leia to do that?
Context for one, and because this is not an argument that people were actually making en masse when it came to this freaking scene in in The Last Jedi. It's the totality of the scene, not just one specific element.
The fact that these people
do this all the time with Star Trek and Star Wars, especially. They'll be like, "Oh, they'll break something down to its one particular element, and then go find it somewhere else, and then be like, well, it was okay over here." And like, maybe I have a problem with what's his name being OP, because I do have a problem with him being OP. But the Leia scene, it was the totality. Of the thing. And Grizzy's saying, yes, was there oxygen with Starkillers? So Leia gets knocked unconscious and blown out of the ship.
Into the vacuum of space.
Into the vacuum of space. But then stopped, because that's how momentum in space works. She's just started orbiting the ship somehow. Like, what stopped her momentum? She would have had to slam into something, which would further injure her. And for several moments, she's unconscious in the vacuum of space, where even if a Force user had the ability to insulate themselves for a short period of time from the dangers of the vacuum of space, she did not. Then she pops her eyes open like a villain in a slasher movie at the end, where they like, oh, there's going to be a sequel. Out. Jason opens his eyes again, or Freddy opens his eyes, like that's the kind of like pop her eyes open. And then she uses the Force to guide herself to the ship. There's so many things that are wrong with that before you get to that. And then on top of it, the style of animation where it just looks like they just took a still shot of her, rotated her, and like dragged her across. It just didn't. It looked laughable.
But then there's also the element of when she gets back to the ship, they open the doors, which would have just sucked the rest of the ship out and all of that. But they just cut that. But I like, this is the thing.
And then she goes back into a coma, and it's like, well, if she was able to do that, then why did she go back into a coma?
What about Force shields? Well, like, again, I don't think you're going to last that long in space. I don't think that she's unconscious. And I don't see the parallels between these two. Like, this is very different to this, especially due to the fact that, yes, there's oxygen and gravity and everything. And Starkiller's not in the vacuum of space in this scene. Anyway, that's the first one. It's a pretty strong start.
Starkiller was a pretty established dude at the time, and Leia had a couple lightsaber fights.
Correct.
Retroactively inserted in the
Starkiller was trained in the dark side and in the light side at this stage.
So like but just breaking it down to the simple one element of it, like, whoa, why do people have a problem with it? Well, they have a problem with the total of the scene.
I mean, you can pick one element of it, and that element is the vacuum of space.
Correct. So you have, but you can't, because you have to add in the fact that she's unconscious. Because they'll find something where in a comic book where some Jedi survived in the vacuum of space for like 3 seconds or something. And like, well, it happened here. So it's the totality of the things.
So this is contestant number 1. It's a strong start, I said.
He's got a strong, like, ones have been coming out of
pretty strong.
Really strong last
we got another strong one though that you want to read this one?
Once again, Bryce Dallas Howard delivers a Mandalorian banger, probably the most pulpy and absurd episode yet, and I loved it for that reason. It knew exactly what it was. It leans hard into the science fantasy world building to explore change in creative, thoughtful, over the top ways. Oh, I was stupid and I liked it because it was stupid.
Because it was stupid. And who describes anything as pulpy? It was pulpy.
Like a pulp fiction, like
oh man, it was
not physically pulpy.
I'm gonna say this is a strong one as well. This is a real strong one too. It was really bad, and it was really what does he say? Absurd.
It was absurd.
It's really absurd episode, but I loved it.
I loved it because it was absurd.
Ridiculous.
That's a pretty shit argument.
Okay. Number 2 is pretty strong as well. Pretty damn strong. And it's a he, him, by the way, another pronoun idiot. Okay. Going on to number 3, I had to pick one from a comment from my tweet. You people are so over dramatic. I'm not sure how anyone pays attention to you, me. You should be ashamed. You are taking things so seriously. Even if you don't like a couple pieces, it was still 90% enjoyable.
I question your math skills, sir.
Yes.
Rick Rodriguez. I strongly question your math skills.
Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting one.
There's substantial major elements of the story of this episode that are pretty bad.
And apparently I should be ashamed.
You should be ashamed for not
taking it so seriously. For taking it so seriously. This is the thing too that I hate. The argument that I hate. Why do you take it so seriously?
Oh yeah, it's because it's that childish argument. It's just for kids. It's a fantasy movie. Why? Are you
the amount of people that replied to this saying, "Oh, it's just a kids show," all of that kind of stuff. Like, I just hate that. What does that change the fact that the rules in the universe shouldn't be the way that they are because it's a kids show? Okay. I also want to make the argument that everybody was saying that Andor, it's so adult. You know, this is Star Wars for adults. And then all of a sudden, as soon as we get back to the garbage Star Wars or apparent garbage Star Wars that they think was different from Andor, it's for kids again.
Here's the automatic response everybody should make when somebody makes it's just for kids or it's just fantasy or something like that. It's like, well, if it's not important and if it's just for kids and it's just fantasy, then why do you care if I don't like it?
Very true.
Just throw it back in there. Like if it means nothing, then why do you care if I criticize it?
Anyway, that's number 3. And number 4, guess who? Guess who gets a nomination again? It is Dan. He loves the Disney shit. Quote tweet this with your favorite Star Wars book, show, game, movie. Let's take a look. Book, High Republic.
You gotta be kidding me.
High Republic, The Rising Storm. Game is Battlefront 2, essentially Disney Star Wars' game. The show is Andor, and the movie is The Last Jedi. Not one thing in there is actually George Lucas Star Wars. Not one thing in there is actually, it's all Disney Star Wars crap. So he had to get his nomination. Good old Dan and his bullshit takes about Star Wars. I just couldn't believe that. Strong
argument for Dan this time because he's wrong 4 times.
Yep. 100%. I couldn't believe that he picked a High Republic book of all the books. And Andor. And then his favorite movie is fucking The Last Jedi. It's a pretty strong one. So there are your 4 nominations, guys. You've got why is using the Force to pull a Star Destroyer out of the sky, okay, but Leia using the Force to pull herself towards a cruiser, an issue for people. So the parallels between these two. We talked about that in length. Obviously, there's massive differences in those 2 scenes. The next one is, go on, Greg. You read this one before.
Once again, Bryce Dallas Howard delivers a Mandalorian banger, probably the most pulpy and absurd episode yet, and I loved it for that reason. It knew exactly what it was. It leans hard into science fantasy world building to explore change in creative, thoughtful, over-the-top ways.
So another shitty take. It's so funny. Anyway, then we've got number 3 with Rick Rodriguez saying, "You people are so overdramatic. I'm not sure how anyone pays attention to you. You should be ashamed. You are taking things so seriously. Even if you don't like a couple pieces, it was still 90% enjoyable." And that I had to put one in from my tweet.
So, Rick, you need to show your work on that math problem, buddy.
Yep, I agree. And then last but not least, we've got our consistent nominee, Dan, with his take on, quote, tweet this with your favorite Star Wars book, show, game, and movie. And he's got book is The High Republic, Disney Star Wars garbage. The Battlefront is his favorite. Battlefront 2 is his favorite game. Andor is his favorite TV show. And The Last Jedi is his favorite Star Wars movie. So in last place is number 3. So, of course, we thought that this was going to be the weakest one. Yeah. But yes, I do want to see your
still put 17% though.
Yeah, it's still got 17%. Absolutely. He's still a seal. Fucking 100%. In second last place, we had number 2. Again, it was a strong argument for seal of the week for sure. But
definitely.
Obviously didn't quite make the cut. This one is definitely a strong one as well. And this came second place with obviously the parallels between these two scenes and why people have a problem with this, but not with this. And then the winner, finally, the winner of Seal of the Week this week is Dan with his ridiculous selections of his favorite Star Wars. It's all Disney Star Wars garbage. High Republic is his favorite book. Battlefront 2 is his favorite game. Andor is his favorite TV show. And The Last Jedi is his favorite movie. Congratulations, Dan. You finally win Disney Seal of the Week.
Hello, the Jedi.